Welcome to the Explainer. So let's just dive right into a super frustrating scenario. You definitely know the one. You go from knocking out pull-ups perfectly, feeling absolutely invincible in your workouts, to suddenly struggling to open a simple jar of pasta sauce in your own kitchen. And you're just standing there wondering, what just happened to my body? Well, today, we're going to dissect exactly why your tendons seem to just completely betray you. And honestly, more importantly, why the way you're probably trying to fix them right now is just completely backwards.
Right off the bat, there is this totally wild, dangerous lie that every gym bro tells themselves after their elbow starts clicking during a heavy set. They say, my tendon will heal in 36 hours whether it likes it or not. I mean, it's just pure denial. It's a really dangerous mindset that tricks people into thinking they can just muscle through clicking joints and nagging pain with sheer force of will. But look, biology absolutely does not care about your motivation. Trying to intimidate your own connective tissue? That's exactly how you take a minor, totally fixable issue and turn it into an absolute nightmare.
So, that brings us to the million-dollar question, right? Why does a minor tweak turn into a year-long injury? We really need to challenge how we think about what's going on beneath our skin. That little nagging tweak you feel, it's not just a signal to stretch a little bit and get right back to the heavy weights. It is actually a major red flag indicating severe biological damage happening right below the surface. To truly grasp why it lingers for a whole year, we've got to look at the literal architecture of your body.
Okay, first let's get our definition straight. What actually is a tendon? It's a thick band of connective tissue made mostly of collagen. And it's really vital to distinguish this from all the other tissues in your body. Ligaments connect bone to bone, fascia connects muscle to muscle, but tendons, they connect your muscle directly to your bones. Think of them like these heavy-duty cables that actually make your skeleton move. When your muscles contract, all that immense force has to travel somewhere, right? It travels directly through your tendons, which then pull on your bones. That is how you lift, throw, or perform literally any physical movement. And because they carry this massive responsibility, they have to be absurdly strong.
To wrap our heads around how they get so insanely strong, picture the movie Inception. But, instead of a dream within a dream, it's incredibly strong rope all the way down. Seriously, it's wild. You have these large bundles of connective tissue, and inside those are smaller bundles. Inside those are even smaller bundles. This goes all the way down until you hit the microscopic collagen fibers that are doing the actual heavy lifting. It's just a miraculous biological design built entirely around generating and transferring raw power.
Now, the difference between a healthy tendon and an injured one, it is literally night and day. In a healthy tendon, those microscopic collagen fibers are packed incredibly densely, and they are aligned perfectly parallel to each other. They look like flawlessly organized cables, and that parallel alignment is the absolute secret to their strength. But when a tendon gets injured, that pristine, perfect structure completely falls apart. The fibers get totally scattered, they turn into this disorganized, tangled mess of scar tissue that simply cannot handle force the same way anymore. But hey, we really shouldn't just picture them as these stiff, static ropes. They're actually highly efficient, dynamic springs. They have these incredible elastic properties. So when you're jumping or running, your tendons are literally working like biological springs. They store up energy when you land, and then they release that stored energy right back out on the upward push. It's an incredibly efficient system your body has going right up until the exact moment you break it. And this delicate system sets the stage for a totally predictable cycle of tendon destruction. It happens in steps. Step 1, your tendons are built to handle repetitive loading. But eventually the load just becomes too great and stresses the tissue. Step 2, micro tears actually start forming in those beautiful parallel collagen fibers. Now usually, your body can repair these without a problem, but here is the fatal error in step 3. You continue stressing the tendon before it even finishes repairing. Which brings us to step 4, the absolute point of no return. This is where the rate of damage actively exceeds the rate of healing. You're literally destroying the tissue faster than your biology can put it back together.
Okay. Get ready for a pretty harsh reality check here. Just 10 minutes. Studies actually show that after about 10 minutes of loading, your tendons completely stop getting the biological signal to get stronger. That's it. Your window is closed. After those 10 minutes, they just accumulate more and more structural damage without gaining any benefit whatsoever.
So, here's a little tough love for you. You peaked at 10 minutes. This is the moment you realize you're not Alex Honnold. Wake up, bro. I mean, you might be at the gym or out free soloing Type A 101, thinking you are building massive tendon strength the whole time. But you aren't. You peaked at 10 minutes. Overtraining past this absolute biological limit is just pure ego. And honestly, all it does is guarantee that you are going to be sidelined.
Look, if you ignore this and push too far, you're inevitably going to end up at the doctor. And you need to understand the medical terminology they're going to throw at you. Tendinitis refers to acute inflammation from a recent injury, but tendinopathy means chronic damage because it's been going on for a while and you just completely ignored it. And here's a totally fascinating fact. That inflammation you feel, it isn't actually the enemy. It's part of the healing process. It's your body desperately trying to bring blood flow and repair cells to the damaged area. The real problem isn't the inflammation at all. The real problem is that you keep re-injuring the tendon before that process can even finish.
Which brings us to the real, cold, hard, biological healing timeline. And spoiler alert, it completely crushes that 36-hour myth. The initial repair phase, that takes a few days. But the absolute minimum time before full healing even begins is 6 weeks. And complete structural healing, we're talking 6 whole months. Listen, your tendon does not care that you have a beach vacation coming up in 4 weeks. It does not care that you have a competition. Biology moves on its own incredibly stubborn timeline, and you absolutely cannot speed it up with sheer willpower.
So, what's the fix? How do you adapt? Well, your first instinct might be to just completely stop training. But complete rest? That actually isn't the answer to fixing this. Instead, you absolutely must temporarily change your activities. You've got to stop doing the exact specific movement that is actively destroying your elbow or your shoulder 3 times a week. You have to remove the aggravating stressor so the tissue can finally catch a breath.
Okay, so once you stop doing the damage, how do you actually rebuild? The science-backed answer here is eccentric exercises. By definition, these are movements where you are lengthening the muscle while it's under load. A perfect example of this is the slow, controlled lowering part of a bicep curl. This specific type of loading is the absolute key to rebuilding those damaged tendons.
So here's the actual playbook for getting this done and why it works. You want to use those eccentric, lengthening exercises under load and pair that with gently stretching and massaging the tendon while it heals. Why? Well, it all goes back to our earlier look at the cellular structure. Controlled lengthening and movement physically force those healing collagen fibers to lay down perfectly parallel, in the right direction as they rebuild. You are literally preventing them from turning into that tangled, disorganized mess of scar tissue we talked about.
But right now, we kind of need to look in the mirror and address why you got hurt in the first place. I mean, sure, you can blame biology, but usually it's our own fault. It comes down to never really learning proper form to begin with. It's skipping the essential progressions because you were feeling impatient. It's trying advanced movements that your muscles might actually be strong enough for, but your tendons are absolutely 100% not ready for. At the end of the day, your ego is what ends up sidelining you on the couch with a bag of frozen peas.
And that is exactly why you need structure. You've got to follow visual progressions to build that foundational tendon strength before you even attempt the next level. Using a structured resource, something like a calisthenics playbook, that breaks down movements with really clear, drawn-out progressions is essential, because it ensures you literally don't skip the required steps. It forces you to build a deep foundational strength your connective tissues actually require to support your muscles safely.
Here's a final wake-up call for you. You simply cannot keep ignoring that clicking sound the way you ignore your credit card bills. It is definitely going to catch up to you, and trust me, the interest rate on joint damage is terribly high. If you're hurting, you really need to go see a real orthopedic doctor. Don't just ask an AI or try to guess your way through it. You need a proper medical diagnosis and a highly structured rehab plan.
Which brings us to the ultimate question for this explainer. Are you going to respect that 6-month biological process, do the tedious eccentric work, and actually get back to training safely? Or will you let your ego keep you stuck on the couch, stubbornly wondering what went wrong? Like we said, your tendons won't heal in 36 hours just because you really want them to. Respect the biological structure, respect the healing timeline, and I promise you'll come back stronger than ever. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.